Shadow would get negative reception upon release, and would at the time be seen as a low point for the series, with many starting to lose faith in Sonic Team. It is at this time apparent that Sonic Team needed something good for their next big title on the upcoming 7th generation consoles. They needed something big, ambitious, and special for the 50th anniversary. Something that would be a hit, bring the Blue Bird back on top, and make a big impact. Well, it certainly made a big impact, alright. And now, more than 1 year later, we are finally talking about it. Sonic the Hedgehog, aka Sonic the Hedgehog 2006, aka Sonic 06, aka Sonic Adventure 3, aka Sonic Next Gen, aka that one Sonic game that weirdly enough appeared on an episode of Breaking Bad.
Get on with it! Yes! Get on with it!
Okay, alright, fine, I'll get on with it. I'm pretty much obligated to mention this game's notorious reputation. Not only is this game notable for killing the adventure formula, but almost kind of killing the franchise as a whole. What's ironic about this is that 06 was meant to rejuvenate the series after the mixed reception of the post-Dreamcast Sonic games that came prior. After the critically panned Shadow the Hedgehog, 06 really was a big shot, and it needed to be a big hit. And well, you probably know the story by now. But to reiterate for the sake of this review, Sonic Team wanted to make this the biggest game yet, being the main game for Sonic's 50th anniversary. However, there were major issues behind the scenes. And well, saying that is an understatement. Yuji Naka, the father of the series and the main director of this game, left during development to form his own studio, Probe. To make matters worse, Sega cut the team working on this game in half to work on Sonic Wildfire, which would become Sonic and the Secret Rings for the Wii, leaving this ambitious title with a relatively understaffed team. To add fuel to these flames of disaster, they had to finish this game and ship it in time for the game's November deadline, which led to them rushing the game out, with several pieces of content being either cut or incomplete, and many bugs and performance issues that weren't ironed out, leading to the game we all know today to come out to rather critical reviews, disappointed fans, and would pretty much change the general discourse surrounding Sonic the Hedgehog forever. Doesn't help that this game was really hyped up. I mean, why wouldn't it be? It was the big 50th anniversary title, a next-gen Sonic game, and the trailers made it look amazing! I mean, who wouldn't want to play a game this badass? What was that? Well, regardless, I have two confessions to make in regards to this game. First, prior to the month of May 2020, I had never played 06. Yeah, that's right, in the 11 years of me being a Sonic fan, I had never played the most infamous game in the series, and needing to play the game for this review kinda got me around to doing that. Second confession is that there was a part of me that was kinda looking forward to trying this game out. Mainly because it's another game in the adventure style, which is my favorite style of 3D Sonic, so that kinda had me looking forward to it, even if it may be bad. Reviewing the game, however, can present a bit of a challenge given this game's infamous notoriety and the countless reviews made of it. This is even more poignant when you take into consideration the Great Clement's 3-hour-long review, which is essentially the Sonic fandom's equivalent of the Mr. Plunkett Star Wars prequel reviews. Though this is not me saying that either of these outputs should be the definitive viewpoints that every single person must follow, despite how one experience is different to another. Nothing against Clement's review of the game, it's definitely very well made and he has a lot of great points. However, using that as a way to shut up others' viewpoints not only makes you look like a sheep, but also plays into the toxic mindset of groupthink. Not to mention, I feel that in the gaming community, there is this overwhelming sense of biased and ludicrous judgment, often passed off as logical critiques, when it comes to certain games.
How dare they put Pac-Man in 3D? How dare they try to evolve the gameplay? There's nothing like the original Maze game, and therefore it's bad.
Okay, so you're just going to completely ignore all the ways this game implements the mechanics from the Maze games into a 3D platformer just to support your biased argument? You know what, Derek? I get it. You hate anything Pac-Man related that aren't the Maze games. Can I just go home now? Did somebody say my name? What? I'm Derek Savage of Cool Cap Productions, and I'd like to talk about my new film. Oh god, oh fuck! With all that said, this is the infamous Sonic 06 after all. Surely there was a good reason why all the things said about this are said ad nauseum, right? With as much as I've played, I have a lot to say. Is any of it good, bad, or both? How about we find out as I present to you Sonic the Hedgehog. Not that one. Not that one either. Nope. Ah, there we go. Anyways, let's get moving. Or as Shadow would say, let's get moving! So, we open up in the city of Soliana, right as the Festival of Flames is going on. Princess Elise is introduced, and we lay witness to her having an acid trip. I mean, we lay witness to her having a vision of a fiery demon destroying her city, but she snaps out of it to make a short speech and let the flames commence the celebration. But then that is followed up by the festival being attacked by none other than the devious Dr. Eggman, who demands that Elise comes with him. Let me just say I love the way they introduce him, with his demented yet circus-like theme playing in the background.
A pleasure to meet you at last, Princess of Soliana. I am Dr. Eggman. I've come here to obtain the secret of the flames of disaster from you, and to take the miracle gems that are the key to its secret, the Chaos Emerald. Now, Princess, this way, please.
But then, a blue streak of wind appears as Sonic makes his appearance, making quips, taking names, kicking ass fast, and putting on a show, and doing it all in a stylish manner. You just gotta love how confident, snarky, badass, and overall in character he is in this scene.
Wow, that's a pretty snazzy performance there.
Unfortunately, this is one of the rare moments in this game where he's like this. This opening bit is great, with the way it starts off foreign, then transitions into the Sonic shenanigans we all know and love, with great animation, action, cinematography, and direction to boot. This is the modern Sonic I know. We also get a little glimpse of the new hedgehog in town, Silver, adding a sense of foreboding mystery and intrigue. In the next scene, we see Sonic running with Elise in his arms, until they are stopped by some Eggman mechs. He puts Elise down to take out the mechs, only for Eggman to snatch Elise while he's not looking. And I already see something questionable. Sonic just lets Eggman take Elise away. Why doesn't he just homing attack the Eggmobile and grab Elise? Perhaps he didn't do that because that would have put Elise at risk of getting hurt? Maybe? I don't know, this just seems contrived. Let's not focus on this too much. Also, this is the first of many times Elise gets kidnapped. Yeah, get used to that plotline. We are now dropped into the hub world. Let me just say that playing this for the first time in 2020 was quite a surreal experience. Being that I always heard about this game for half of the amount of time I've been a Sonic fan, it was like some sort of mythical Sonic game you hear about as some sort of legend, the infamous Sonic game. And there I was, experiencing it firsthand with its bizarre realism art style, weird humans, and its mostly weird controls. Anyways, the hub starts off a bit enclosed, so you won't be lost trying to get to the first level. Basic yet good design. You have a short and simple series of events to take care of before getting into the first level. You have to go over and talk to Tails, then you have to go over and talk to this old man, you do a mission for him, and then you obtain money from the mission, and he gives you custom shoes. You go over to the clerk where you buy the Lightspeed Dash, to which you use it to get to the first level, all while Tails dies trying to follow you. Rest in peace, bro. There are many instances like this in the game where you have to do a task or more before entering a level. Whether it's just one simple inoffensive thing, or multiple town missions that come off as arduous padding. Yeah, this game's pacing is all over the place. That said, I do quite like how the literal first mission of the game is just buying shoes. It's a great contrast to the crazy shit that happens at the end of the game. However, this is where one particular issue of the game rears its ugly head. It is, of course, the loading screens. You probably know all about this, so I'm going to keep it short and simple. This is an optimization issue that's a result of the game's rushed development. Not only does the loading last 20 to 40 seconds long, but you will have to sit through multiple of them. Simply put, it's annoying to have to sit through what is basically a whole lot of dead air. It breaks the pace, especially when you want to hop on for a short session. That said, this can be alleviated by doing something while you wait. You could just check your phone, rearrange something in your room, or— oh shit, the game just started! Since we are now entering the first level, Wave Ocean, it's probably a good time to talk about how it feels to control Sonic and use his abilities. And it's a mixed bag. In general, Sonic feels like a downgrade from the way he played in the adventure games. For one, his aerial movement is a bit twitchy and sensitive, which can make platforming feel a bit clunky. It's something you can get used to, but it's very awkward. The ground controls have many issues. Sonic runs at a relatively decent pace, but you're limited to that pace, with your only means of going fast being through dash pads, scripted sections, or usage of the blue gem. The latter of which being something you only have access to in the last third of Sonic's campaign, so I might as well not even mention it. Dash pads and scripted moments have been a part of the series since day one, but the ability to go fast was something the player had control over. If you can only go fast through scripted sections or dash pads, then that's a failure on the gameplay front. And even when you're going fast, he then becomes a pain in the ass to steer, with movement being way too sensitive. Either you're not fast enough or you're too fast and way too sensitive. Doesn't help that when you run into an object at top speed, Sonic falls on his ass for a few seconds. Who thought that was a good idea? Shit like that makes it even more stiff as hell. The stiffness doesn't even end there. The spin dash can only be activated while standing still, and you can't even jump out of it, making spin dash jumping impossible. Anything that was fun about the spin dash in terms of platforming and traversal is just gone. It's also useless in combat since you can barely control the damn thing, and anti-gravity is a much better alternative. In fact, combat is the only thing anti-gravity is good for. The swipe kick is fine since it's a better version of the somersault that's also good to use on enemies, but it's still rather situational. The homing attack has this delay that happens after each time it's used, so it feels stiff when used in succession. It has great range though, so I'll give it that. The bounce attack is great for platforming and especially great for combat. I'm starting to see a pattern here. Yet the problem with it is that you can't move while even using it, so it's a definite downgrade from before. Rail grinding has also been nerfed. You can't switch from rail to rail like you could before. You have to manually jump from rail to rail. It's not that bad since you can homing attack rails, but it's still rather clunky. You also can't adjust your speed on them, so they are pretty much automated. That said, they do add flavor to the levels, and they are pretty well implemented into the level design. Now you may notice I use the word stiff a bit much. That pretty much is the most fitting word. The controls, abilities, and movement feel stiff and constricted, especially compared to what came out years prior. Yeah, several hours and sessions of playing Sonic 06 can really make going back to Sonic Adventure feel all the more wonderful. I seriously cannot underestimate how so good the controls in Adventure are. Movement felt natural and flowed well. Homing attacking felt good. The spin dash was fun to use, especially with all the cool stuff you could do with it. I could go on and on. Point is, Sonic Team managed to get the controls right with their first 2 3D games. There's a really good balance between speed and control, so now I may ask, is it possible that these were flashes in the pan? I ask since after Adventure 2, they've struggled to make controls that are on this level. Either they're slippery like in Heroes, or they're too stiff like in the game I'm currently reviewing. The reason I'm making a big deal out of Adventure's controls here is because, well, 06 tries to replicate that sort of playstyle, but has a hard time understanding what made the controls work. So, was 06 always supposed to control like this? I don't know. I don't think so anyway. If the beta footage from E3 is anything to go off of, that looked more fun and flowing than what we actually got. It still does seem to retain certain issues that are in the final game, but this was a beta, so they could have ironed that out. But that didn't happen. Okay, so I did say they were a mixed bag, which does mean there are good things about the controls. For one, the action button mechanic is back and better than ever. It actually carries out the intended function most of the time, so I don't find myself embarrassingly bounce attacking when I mean to lightspeed dash. Despite the moves having downgrades to some extent, in a way they still feel good and fun when pulling them off in correspondence to level design. Whether you're homing attacking, lightspeed dashing, and or jumping at the right time to dash through a rainbow hoop, there's a certain sense of inertia doing these things that help stimulate the player. However, the effectiveness of this is entirely based on the level design. So without further ado, let's start talking about each of Sonic's levels, starting with Wave Ocean. This level gives off a good idea of what most of 06's level design is like, in that it's basically a mix between the wide open and sprawling, yet still mostly linear Adventure 1 approach, and the reaction-action arcade-like approach of Adventure 2. It's a lot more wide open in a lot of places, but there are very many reflex-oriented set pieces that call upon the player's skill, and it works to create an exciting and kinetic flowing level. At least if we're talking about the first section. Getting past the quirks of the game's controls, the first section of Wave Ocean is pretty good. Also, there's this one part very reminiscent of the Orca chase in Airboat Coast. Except here, there's a little twist. People said this part is bad design because it throws an unexpected command at the player that results in a cheap death. However, that is bullshit since a similar set piece is introduced to the player earlier in the level, in a much safer place. You're taught that when Sonic clings onto the surface like this, that's your cue to hit that jump button. Come on guys, get real. Wave Ocean houses the introduction of 2 particular points of contention, the first being the Amigo characters. I like the idea of temporarily switching to another character in a level, as it can add a bit of a dynamic nature to the levels. On the other hand, the quality of these playable characters is so inconsistent. So we control Tails in this section, and his gameplay is a return to how he played in Adventure. and by that I mean it's a diminished return. His ground speed is way too slow. When he flies, he constantly moves forward, making his flight controls a bit more awkward. When his flight reaches its limit, rather than making a slow descent, he just plops down, which not only disrupts the flow of his gameplay, but can also be detrimental in an unfair way, like, you know, death. Which can be avoided, but it's not very fun. I also have issue with his means of attacking. Throwing the dummy ring bombs while on the ground leaves Tails stationary, making him vulnerable for enemy attack. Which would be fine if the alternative, that being overhead dummy ring bomb drops, weren't a pointless struggle where I have a hard time hitting anything. So I have problems with the way Tails plays. But I have one point of praise. While Tails was fun to play as an adventure, the level design treated him like an afterthought. Here, there is level design that utilizes his fight ability quite well. They can still be cheesed, but not to the extent that they could be in adventure, so it's not really bad. Also, his sections do not overstay their welcome, so it's definitely paced very well too. Once you hit the switch that completes Tails' portion of the level, you then move on to the second point of contention, the Mach Speed section. These sections have Sonic kicking his speed up a notch as you steer him, avoiding obstacles and trying to make it to the goal. These may or may not have been inspired by that one set piece in Speed Highway from Sonic Adventure, only much more supercharged. These sections are often hated among those who play this game, yet I actually get a kick out of them to an extent. But I am well aware they are not good. To start, anytime you jump, your movement in the air is locked, which is bad because you need to be constantly changing directions while in these sections. This makes it so you have to really be precise with your jumps. Otherwise, you are fucked. And it's aggravating to deal with in these sections. It's a bigger problem in later Mach Speed sections than in Wave Ocean, but with Wave Ocean there are other problems. This is the most sensitive movement we'll get, which can make maneuvering around objects much too tricky than it should be, given that anything you touch hurts you. That can be frustrating. You also can't slow down in these sections, so that adds fuel to the fire. Wave Ocean's Mach Speed sections in particular has instances of crowded areas and narrow passageways, which don't exactly go well with these controls. Thing is, the level design here isn't even bad. The problem is that the level design and controls don't match up. Though I may as well mention some of the infamous death traps in this Mach Speed section. Having seemingly normal spots that you have to avoid because they're buggy as hell is not good design. That said, I can get used to the quirks of these controls, and I do have fun with most of these Mach Speed sections. With the thrill of moving at top speed and dodging all these obstacles in my way, it feels cathartic and climactic, especially with it being at the end of the level. That said, the issues cannot be ignored. Overall, Wave Ocean is a good opening level, hampered by some blemishes. And yeah, expect that to be a running theme throughout this review. So before we move on to the next level, we got a boss to take care of. And it's a dog! Sorry about that. Our boss number 1 is Egg Cerberus. Egg Cerberus. Cerberus.
I've never seen a talking mud before. You know, in a dog show, you definitely take first place.
Okay, so either Eggman is a poser who knows jack shit about Greek mythology, or he just didn't have the budget for the other two heads. Okay, so being that Sonic 06 was pretty next-gen for the time, one of the ways they showed that off was by having gigantic bosses to take down. Seriously, the size and scale of these enemies is something quite unprecedented by Sonic standards. Okay, well, kind of. Bosses in 3D Sonic games are a mixed bag. You have ones that are great, and you have ones that are fucking shit. And with Sonic 06, many of these fights do have their problems. With the Egg Cerberus, there is a cinematic flair to this boss that helps to make it feel kinda fun. I mean, the way it tries to run towards and jump on you, and how you have to dash out of the way as fast as possible, as well as the way you have to grab onto it by the horn and make it run into something to damage it, which is a unique way to take down a boss. How about this camera angle? Doesn't it look cool? Doesn't this arena look cool too? All these things help to make the fight work on a cinematic standpoint, but as a boss fight it has issues. One of which is that, for the most part, the camera doesn't focus on the boss most of the time, which is actually a consistent issue with most of the bosses. Another issue is that there is so much waiting and 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 waiting. It also would have benefited from having more means of attack to keep the player on their toes. But overall, it's a fine first boss. Just okay. And that's the end of part 1. Originally, I intended for this to be one big video, but I also wanted something out at the end of this year, so I'm compromising and splitting this up into parts. Probably 4 parts overall. Part 2 should be out sometime soon. Also, credit to Mario Numbers for the thumbnail, and credit to Spacey McSpacer for doing the Derek voice. And yeah, overall, this has been a really good year in terms of YouTube content, and I'm hoping next year will be even better. Anyways, thank you all for supporting this channel, it really means a lot to me. And until next time, I will see you all in 2022!